Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to your Safari Live, coming live to you from Sabi Sands in South Africa. We're currently sat on the Arathusa airstrip. We just thought we'd take a bit of a drive and see what's around before we actually came to you. We actually managed to find a breeding pair of side-striped jackals. They're pretty stationary at the moment, but there has been a little bit of activity. Appears to be one of them was chasing some crown plovers, which seem to be causing a little bit of irritation. Just a quick introduction. My name's Alex. Behind the camera we have Jason.
Morning.
And in final control we have Liam. Apologies for the weather. It's not typically South African. It's more like good old-fashioned English weather today. It's a bit drizzly, quite chilly, but it should hopefully provide some interesting activity for the animals, because it's nice and cool. So that means the animals will be a little bit more active and not hiding too much in the shade. So we'll just watch these guys for a couple of minutes, see what happens, and then we'll go for a drive down the airstrip, and we'll see what we can see. But yeah, these two have been sat here probably for about half an hour or so, just kind of relaxing in the grass. Not especially being too close to each other, but they are keeping within a reasonable distance. And there are some plovers in the background, which are causing these guys a little bit of a restless nap. I absolutely love these guys. I think they're absolutely fantastic little creatures. This is probably more than likely a breeding pair, and they will have a den somewhere around, probably. Not too sure if they've got any cubs as yet, or pups, but hopefully next couple of months we will be able to see if they have been successful in breeding, depending if it's the right time of year, of course. If you do have any questions, this is an interactive safari drive for you, so it's all about you guys wanting more information and wanting to find out more about the animals and the area that we're in. Send your questions to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can tweet us at #SafariLive. But yeah, so as I said, this is as much about us taking you on an adventure, but it's also interactive, so just feel free to ask questions, and we'll see what we can see. Now, Jason's just given me a bit of a look, because over my shoulder we have a few antelope. So I'm just going to scooch down so you can get a better view, and we'll have a look at these guys. No, it's not just antelope. Just up ahead of us we have a nice community going on there. We've got a nice group of male waterbuck, and two are actually having a bit of a spar, and just behind them we have some zebra. Now this is nice, actually. This is nice behaviour. They're not having a serious rut, they're just having a bit of a spar, just having a bit of a play fight. Just like those impala were this morning. So as I said, these guys are waterbuck. They're quite distinguishable from other species of antelope. They've got a nice shaggy, almost grey coat. Almost looks as though they should be in places with a colder climate. And they've got a lovely, lovely, almost heart-shaped nose to them. And as you can see on their rears, they've got a big white ring. But if Jason can pan to the guy that stood on his own on the left, he's got a cracking pair of horns on him. He's just stood checking us out. So as I said, these guys will just be having a bit of a rustle, a bit of a tussle, just a bit of a play fight, and just kind of having a bit of a play fight. Maybe sorting out a bit of a pecking order for early next year when the rutting season comes in. Seems to be quite a lot of bird activities in this area as well. We've got a few crown plovers. There's a few Indian minor birds as well, and there's the crown plovers are certainly making a bit of a ruckus. Quite majestic looking, I think, waterbuck are. It's a nice comment from Elise, who I believe is on Twitter. She likes the heart-shaped noses on the waterbuck. It looks like the guy with the bighorns is just keeping an eye on us and just making sure that we're going to pose no threat to him or his mates. Just had a question from Bill in Michigan. Sorry, I didn't quite catch the exact location, Bill. Bill's asking if waterbuck are the largest antelope that we get in South Africa. No, Bill, they're not. We get a couple more which are larger. We get the kudu, which are larger than these guys. Saw a couple of female kudu this morning, so hopefully we'll see a couple more this afternoon. We also get the eland, which is the largest of the antelope. How can I describe an eland? It's quite a bulky antelope, very impressive horns, highest jumpers as well of all the antelope, considering they're such a bulky antelope. Very, very muscular in appearance, very stocky. The kudu, slightly more, less bulkily built. They've got quite long necks in comparison to the eland, who hasn't got quite as long a neck. But the kudu's got some of the most impressive horns of the antelope species, with some of the best spirals. We'll see if we can find some kudu for you later, Bill, just so you can have a bit of a comparison. But unfortunately, we won't see any eland in this particular area of the country. Okay. There's a few people just asking for an update on Mark and the jigger. Well, the plan was to have Mark and myself out this afternoon on drive, so we have Brian out on camera as well. We did get the jigger running for a little while, so Mark and Brian did set off from our base camp. But unfortunately, after a few minutes, the jigger decided to he didn't want to come out and play today. So unfortunately, they've gone back to base camp, and we're going to try and get the jigger up and running as soon as we can. As much fun it is having one vehicle out, we know how much more beneficial it is for you guys to actually have two vehicles out, so we can do some game spotting for you. And just basically chop and change and keep things as interesting as we can and see as many species as we can for you. So we are working as hard as we can to try and get the jigger up and running, so we can resume full service for you. No, I did. Oh, it's a plover again. So we're just going to pan again to the side strap jackals, because they're causing a bit of a fuss with these with the plovers. Perhaps there's a plover nest nearby, and they might scavenge or go for some of the eggs. And the jackals, they are carnivorous. They will take small rodents, lizards, eggs, potentially even small birds if they can get hold of them. I actually love these guys, they're very, very cute. Have a quick look around, just have a quick scan and see if I can see anything else whilst we're here. Bless you, Jason. Sorry, Jason's South African, so he's not used to all this cold, wet, rainy weather. Those plovers, or lapwings if you'd rather call them, they're definitely not too keen with those jackals so close. An interesting question from Susie, asking if jackals mate for life. I do believe they are monogamous. However, if one of the partners is killed, they probably will find a new mate eventually. But as far as I'm aware, they do stick together quite a lot, and they are monogamous. So they will kind of hang around for quite a long time, probably for life, until either one or the other is unfortunately killed, and then depending if on their age, they may go off and find a new mate. I do like these guys. They kind of remind me of a bit of a European fox, obviously slightly different size and different colorations, but just lovely, lovely animals. Okay, I think we've spent enough time here. We'll give me 2 secs, excuse me. I was just checking behind us to see if there was anything of interest. Okay, yeah, what we'll do is we'll take a slow drive down the edge of the runway, and then come back onto the Juma property and have a look on there and see what tracks we can find, and see what other animals there are. So if we're ready, let's get moving. Take my time when I come between these animals so I don't startle them. I should just have a bit more of a view on these guys. two at the far end seem to have picked their ears up a little bit. If there's anything of interest down there. We've got a slight breeze blowing in our general direction, so maybe there is something further down the runway that they've caught the scent of. They're not overly keen of, or they're not too sure of. The zebra seems to be showing a tiny bit of interest as well, but I think it's just another vehicle at the far end. That's probably what they heard. These guys have got some great spiraled horns. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a drive now. I think we'll spend enough time with these guys. Leave them to it. We're just chilling out and lying in the grass, ruminating. Sorry guys, don't mean to disturb you. It's okay. Maybe go slightly more towards the zebra, because the zebra seem a little bit more habituated in comparison to these waterbuck. Sorry guys. They've almost got a kind of reindeer look about them, I think, waterbuck. I'm just going to keep avoiding these puddles as best I can. Earlier today we did see some terrapin action in these little puddles, so it's probably best to avoid them as best we can, and always obviously make sure that we do check them thoroughly if we do have to drive through them, and if we do, move as slowly as we can. Jason's going to just remove the rain cover, if that's okay. cool. Now if you look just to the end of the runway, there's a solitary Egyptian goose. Now I wonder if he's getting ready for takeoff, or if he actually needs that much of a runway. That was quite a nice start. We had some nice jackals and some nice waterbuck as well. Those jackals are definitely very, very cute little creatures. Now, you usually only get 2 species of jackal probably around this area. You get the black-backed jackal as well as the side stripe, and they with the side stripe. Side-striped jackal like to kind of tend to hang around more in open areas, savanna type pastures. Seen a raptor flying overhead, and it's kind of swooped down with a little bit of purpose, so with a bit of luck as we move forward we might be able to kind of get an idea of where he's landed, and it'd be quite interesting to see if there is anything there. There's another vehicle behind us and they look like they're in a bit of a hurry, so I'm just going to pull over slightly, let them get past. Hello. Just have a quick look around with the binos while we're waiting for those guys to move off a little bit. Sorry Vim, could you repeat that please? Just had a nice comment come through from Clown Sharon saying her office sometimes comes to a complete standstill watching Safari Live. It's a good comment to have. Yeah, sorry for distracting you from your work, but yeah, kind of pleased that we're distracting you. just a bit of a follow-up from the last couple of days. We've had that great lion sighting with the Encoro Pride yesterday afternoon and evening. We tried to locate them again today, but unfortunately we found their tracks, but we couldn't get a good viewing of those guys. Now, there has been reports that the Birmingham boys have been in a bit of contact with the Encoro Pride, so it'd be very interesting to actually see what's happened there, whether they've actually had a bit of a dispute, whether any of the actual lions have been are injured. Hopefully there won't have been. It'd be just nice to actually see what's actually happened between the prides, what interaction has been happening. If they have indeed attempted to take over that pride. So if we do manage to see them, there will be. Sorry, apologies for the corrugations. So we will try our best to try and find them for you. I've got my ear in to the Game Draft channel, so yeah, we'll see if we can keep you updated. We did come down this road this morning. We did see quite a lot of the lion tracks heading in this kind of direction. But then further up, the lines looks like they cut into our left, which would be a northerly direction. Unfortunately, we weren't able to catch up with them, but we'll do our best this afternoon. Quite big kudu tracks in this area. Looks like they're heading in the opposite direction, but you never know. Might be fortunate enough to see some. Ooh, is that a rock? Just bear with me. Okay, I'm just going to pull back a little bit. I appear to have found another jackal. Just out of the corner of my eye, I just saw his ears move, his ears twitch. There we go. Today, it seems to be the day of the jackal. I can't see a second jackal, not from here. Looks a bit bedraggled, does this one? Just feeling a bit scruffy. Seems to be quite perky. It's just having an afternoon snooze, afternoon chill out session. Okay, the sky looks pretty flat out at the moment. I think we'll move on a little bit, maybe get a different angle on him when we come around this corner. He looks pretty chilled with us. Definitely slightly more chilled than, sorry Mr. Rockpecker, than the other two that we saw earlier. They seemed a bit skittish. I'm just going to check this guy out from another angle. It looks fine, I think he's just chilling. I was worried for a second that he might have been carrying an injury or something, but just had an interesting question from Clown Sharon on Twitter, asking if jackals are the African version of a coyote. I've never actually done a huge amount of research on coyotes, so I couldn't really give you a 100% answer. But as far as I'm aware, the coyotes are a lot bigger than these jackals. I mean, they are part of the canine family, so they will be related to some degree. But as for if they're related to coyotes, I'm probably going to say the African comparison to coyotes. I'm probably going to say they're not. The coyote in Africa was probably more kind of resemble potentially your Ethiopian wolf or something like that. That might more resemble the coyote. But these guys are probably a lot smaller than coyotes. But then again, I'm not 100% certain on how large coyotes are in comparison to, maybe if you could potentially give me a comparison to maybe the size of a domestic dog of some description, that might kind of give me a better idea. But for coyotes, I think these are probably more related to kind of like the fox, to like Northern European foxes, North American or European foxes. Okay, he's kind of settled down in the bush, just a bit away from us, so we'll continue on our route and see, as Mr. Turner says, what's around the next corner. As with this morning, and every other driver that I'll hopefully be doing, I'll be constantly just sticking my head out the window, well, not the window, over the side of the vehicle, and just periodically just checking for tracks or for spoor, just to see if there's anything of interest that's been through the area. Now, I'm just going to get my bearings again. I do have an idea of where I am, but I just want to make sure that I'm going to be taking us in a more direct route to where I'd like to take you. since I've been in this area, I've seen some of the biggest termite mounds that I've actually encountered whilst I've been in southern Africa. If we can just pan to your right, I'll try and get a better view for you, Jason, sorry. I can't really get a good view of that one. I'll try and get another one for you in a second, then we'll continue with the information I was going to give you. Ooh, actually. No. Okay, a lot of people saying that's the coyotes, but saying that's size comparison for a coyote is about the size of a German Shepherd. Yeah, I'm going to probably stick with my kind of original thoughts and analogy that an African version of a coyote is probably more likely going to be your Ethiopian wolf kind of as a comparison, whereas the side-striped jackals and the black-backed jackals, they're a lot smaller in comparison. Probably looking at about, I don't know, maybe a jackal's probably about that tall maximum. Quite small creatures really. Had Control just feed me a bit of research information, which is very sorry, I'm just trying to listen to the Game Drive channel as well as Control. I'm also trying to listen to some some information that Control is feeding me from just from the jackal perspective. Just advising me that because I'm not very up with my weights on some of the species, which is partially my bad. Let's turn this down a bit. Yeah, the black-backed jackal ranges between about 5 to 6 kilograms. So it's not the heaviest of animals. It's pretty light, really. Yeah, quite a small animal. just a bit of a herd of impala. I'm just going to creep around so I don't startle them too much, or just force them to get off the road in too much of a hurry. Few bachelors just hanging out together. Now these guys will tend to hang around in bachelor herds until it comes to the rutting season, and then they'll start to compete for the attention of the ladies, and then they'll kind of create temporary harems. Well, they'll control between 20 and 30 females apiece. Let's pull back. It's a bit of an awkward angle for Jason to reach around on. That's better. Yeah, as we're saying, these guys will kind of hang around together until the rutting season, when then they'll start to compete for their females, and they'll kind of control anywhere between 20 and 30 impala ewes, and try and copulate with as many as possible along the way. There will be satellite males which will kind of hang around the edge of a temporary harem that's controlled by a dominant male. And once the dominant male's kind of exhausted himself a little bit, he'll be ousted for a while from one of the satellite males, who then take over the herd. He'll try and get his genes into the pool, but then the dominant male that he's ousted, because he's obviously been busy for about 3 or 4 days, just doing what male impala do, he'll actually recuperate, and then he'll come back and take his harem of ladies back. Well, he'll attempt to anyway. All mobile stations, this is Alex from WildEarth. Any updates, please? I'm just going to move forward a bit because there's a dam down here, so we're just going to check out the dam. Not having much luck on the Game Drive channel. Just probably got a bit of a bad signal area, so I'm just going to move down here and see what there is. Not a lot going on at this dam at the moment. Perhaps later we can take a swing by here. Might be a few animals coming down to drink. There's a couple of geese just hanging around. Well, some busy weaver birds here as well. We'll come back and show you those later. not stroked the quill yet, Jason. I think we need to give it a bit of a bash. Excuse me. There we go. Thank you. We'll just tap it on the camera as well to bring you guys some luck. Stop and put this away carefully so I don't break it. There we go. Put the quill back in its place. Sorry, could you just repeat that, please? Okay. Just had a question from Hilma on Twitter asking what jackals hunt for. Well, like most, they are canine, so they are carnivorous. So those jackals will probably go for small rodents, birds, insects, small reptiles as well, and they'll scavenge if there is a kill, and they do have the opportunity to get in there and scavenge some of the meat or some of the flesh from a larger kill, from say for example a lion kill or a leopard kill once they've finished with it, or even a hyena kill. They will take their opportunity. They are scavengers and they are opportunistic. So it's not just hunting. They do scavenge. So they do play an important role in keeping the bush clean. Ooh, 2 rollers just flew off there. Let's see if they stay still enough. No, so we just had 2 what look like European rollers fly off from our right, but they wouldn't stay still enough for us to get a shot through. We've had a question from John Q. Oh, sorry John, I'm going to have to stop your answer there for a second. So if Jason just pounds just ahead of me through those trees, got a nice alley. And there's something running through the background as well, but I couldn't quite make out what it is. I'm just going to go off-road a bit so I can see if we can get a better picture of this pachyderm for you. I'm not going to get too close because I'm not sure how many others might be around. Just poke our nose in and say hello. Obviously not get in his way. I'll go away. Not a close enough look yet. Just showing a little bit of indecisive behaviour by swinging the leg there. Now hopefully Zanelli will fit through this little gap. We're not going to get too much closer because he's just going to give us a shake of the head. Just say that's close enough. No, that's as close as we're going to get anyway. Now, to me, this looks like a fairly young female, just by the size and the shape of the head. see, she's got, if I can get my, oh no, she's just turned around. She's got quite an angular, sharp shape to her head rather than a rounded, which you usually find in the males. Head's a lot smaller as well, in comparison to the rest of the body. The male elephants tend to have a much larger head. Seems quite small to be on her own. Should be the rest of the herd around here somewhere. Okay, I'm not getting a very good view of this Ellie here, so I'm gonna come out of here and we'll see if the rest of her herd is lurking around somewhere. I can't quite get a good view of her because there's only so much you can watch of an elephant from behind. Now I do have a feeling that the rest of her herd will be around here somewhere, so let's see if we can find them. See if we can get a view of her from the front by going through this way. There we go, this could be better. Probably use these trees as just as a safety barrier, not for us as such, but just to kind of give her a bit of an indication that we're not going to approach too closely, and that we're not actually posing any threat to her whatsoever. We're just here to say hello and just watch her for a little bit. Actually, I think I might be wrong with sexing this elephant. Just bear with me, I'm just going to get my binos out. Fantastic shape to the ears, really is. Almost looks like the outline of the continent of Africa. It's one of the telltale signs of the differences between African and Indian elephants, or Asian elephants I should say. They have a much smaller ear in comparison to the African. I think today I'm not going to be getting some very good frontal sights of him, frontal images of Ellie's. It's all going to be about the rear. just going to, before we lose it completely, I'm just going to quickly check my map. Okay, I think we're going to leave this Ellie in peace. Lucy and Jace. Oh, well spotted, Jace. He's managed to pick up a dwarf mongoose. Fantastic. Well, these guys are very, very sociable when it comes to the mongoose family. They tend to live in quite big groups, family groups. Just scurrying around looking for snacks. Okay, that Ellie seems to have come into the open a little bit. The direction he's travelling, I think he might come onto the main road. Reverse a bit. There's a bit of a path, so just follow him up until the main road. Thicker than I anticipated. Might be able to get a good shot of him just a few pan to the right of us. It is quite thick here. He's just being a little bit unsociable. Not being very sociable today. We'll turn round and we'll continue in the general direction that we were heading. Jason. seems to be quite a lot of activity just ahead. Game drive vehicles moving at quite a pace, so I'm just going to pull off in a minute and just switch off to use the game drive channel and just see what's ahead. Going to go up to Treehouse Dam and just have a look in there. Hook the nose up onto the dam wall. Quiet here this afternoon as well. So, I'm not sure if Jason will be able to get the shot from there. Might be a little bit too far for you. There's a blacksmith's clover just on the far bank. Just having a bit of a preen, a slight bit of a paddle. It's a little bit too far really to get a proper shot. Okay. Let's crack on. Just a reminder, if you do have any questions, feel free to send your questions or your comments to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can tweet us at #SafariLive. Going through a bit of a dip, so if the signal does drop out and it gets a bit crackly, I do apologise. Get through it as quick as I can. I hope all of you are kind of following the advice that Scott gave you when he's been driving. You're looking at driving through areas such as this, maybe with the trees slightly bigger, with the horizontal branches, and if you see 4, maybe 5 vertical hanging branches, then it's the telltale sign that there's a leopard in that tree. So I'm doing pretty much the same thing that Scott would. I'm scanning the tree lines to see if there is anything dangling from the tree that doesn't look like it should be there. So I thought I saw a track there, but not 100% sure of what it was. So I've just had a question come through. I'm just going to hold flag. So we've just come around the corner. There's a vehicle parked here. So I just want to edge up and see what we've got. Just bear with me. I think they're just doing a bit of birding. So what we'll do is we'll move on. Just doing a bit of birding, seeing what's around. So I think we'll leave them in peace, because too many vehicles does spoil people's birding. Pretty quiet out here so far this afternoon. We've had some good sightings of a few jackal. That's always nice to see. Usually quite shy creatures, quite camera shy. We've got some nice waterbuck. Got a good look at those. And posterior of an elephant. Sorry about the bumps. Let's check out another dam. Again, this looks pretty quiet. Everywhere seems pretty quiet today, guys. I'm just going to see if I can plot a bit more of a route. very quiet today, which isn't too bad. Just gives us a nice time to, gives us an opportunity to just go for a drive, excuse the bump, and just appreciate the beauty that is the African bush. It is superb out here, it is stunning, even in overcast, slightly cooler conditions. It is absolutely stunning here. That's nice. Some green pigeons. A nice little collection of African green pigeons. Fantastic colorations on these guys. Very, very pretty colours. There you go. This one for all you birders out there watching. Always surprises me the variation of colours that you can get from just one sort of species of animal, particularly birds. I mean, obviously these guys are related to your feral pigeons, which you'll see everywhere in Europe and North America. These guys are related, so it is quite astounding how the variations of species, how they can evolve just to use their environment to their advantage, whether it's coloration, a slightly different shape of beak, a slightly different shape of foot, and the feeding habits, the nesting habits. It's quite remarkable, really. But these guys are absolutely stunning. Almost looks as though he's got, or he or she even, got little yellow leg warmers going on there. Bit of an 80s fashion statement. Such a pretty bird, it really is. just picking off morsels here and there as he goes, or she goes. Just gingerly picking away through those thorns on that bush. Very sharp. Now there is another one in that tree as well, but I don't want to move forward too much, or just yet. I don't want to startle them because they're very relaxed where we are at the moment. And if we're lucky, the other one might hop up and join. Okay. Okay. I think we'll leave these guys to it. Continue on. Oh. Actually, I'm just going to pull forward slowly because just at about my 10 o'clock, there's another little mongoose just kind of picking away. Thought they'd move. No, he's moved as well now. So, apologies for startling you guys. those bushes. Just bear with me. It's just a Treosaurus. Okay, just had a question from Matthew on Twitter asking if I can give him any top tips for getting his. Just going to stop while we answer this question. Any top tips for him when he goes to get his field guide qualifications? Top tips. Study hard. Keep an open mind. Savour the experience. You're gonna meet some fantastic people. I know I did when I studied. You're gonna make you're gonna make friends for life. You really are gonna make some fantastic friends. But yeah, study hard. Keep an open mind. Enjoy the experience. Soak up as much information as you can. Just soak up the environment that you're going to be in as well. You're going to be involved with a group of people who are very like-minded, who are passionate about the same things. You're going to have an absolutely fantastic time. And once you finish your level 1, if you get the opportunity to do your trails course, do that. It's just a completely eye-opening experience. It opens you up to a whole new world, whole new possibilities. But like I said, the best tips you can do is just enjoy it as much as you can. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic experience. I know I'm still in touch with a lot of the guys, pretty much all the guys that I actually trained with, as well as the majority of the people that were actually at the institution as well. It wasn't just a level 1 course that was studying there. There was a 3-year course. They were there. There were other sub-courses as well, people doing marine studies and birding specialties, as well as just doing the trails courses. The entire group and demographic of people you're going to get a broad mix of people from all walks of life. Everybody's going to be there for a common purpose, and you're going to have an absolutely fantastic time. So top tip is just enjoy it, savour it, study hard, work hard, and yeah, you're going to absolutely enjoy it. It's going to be one of the best experiences of your life, and it's going to be the best experience leading you into a career working within the ecotourism industry. You're going to thoroughly enjoy it. Really are going to enjoy it. But anyway, we're going to crack on, and we're going to see what we can find. So I just had to stop for that one, because it's something that's quite pertinent and still quite very in my mind. Is just, yeah, the people that you're going to meet are just going to be absolutely amazing people. So you're going to thoroughly enjoy it. And if any of the people that I did train with and did live with for such a long period of time, if you are watching, WildEarth for life. I did mention earlier about termite mounds, and this is a very nice example. I'm going to stop the car, or stop the vehicle I should say, it's not a car, just by it, up here, without stalling, and I'm going to go and stand next to it just to give you a bit of a size comparison. I have seen larger ones here, but this one is quite a nice example, so if you just bear with me. Now you can kind of get a size comparison of how big these things are, how big they can get. I mean, I'm what, 6.5 foot, 6'4"? No, I'm joking. I'm only about 5'7", but these things are absolutely massive, absolutely massive. Termite mounds are very fascinating things. Strangely enough, it's got a network of thousands upon thousands of tiny little pathways and passages, all leading to several chambers. And in the heart of this termite mound will be a mound of decomposing material, which the termites use to cultivate a fungus, and it's this fungus that the termites actually feed on. And also within this termite mound, there'll be a queen or a breeding termite who's responsible for the reproduction of all the termites, probably within the actual locality, because it's not just this termite, this mound. There'll be other mounds that are in the vicinity that will be satellites of this particular colony. And what will happen is the queen of this particular mound, she'll be constantly releasing a pheromone which controls the population not only of this mound but of all the surrounding mounds as well. It's pretty fascinating, and the social structure of these guys is just phenomenal. Also as well, for the size of the mound, the termite mounds are a bit like icebergs. You see a bit of a tip, but this termite mound, there's probably about another maybe 50 to 60% more of this termite mound that's actually buried underground. And there's quite a few interesting facts about the termites. I mean, the queen termite herself, they've been recorded for living for up to 50 years. I mean, for an insect that's probably about this big. That's pretty remarkable. And when the termite queen actually, eventually gives way to a successor. So I just sort of saw something in the bushes. To a successor, they will actually continue this particular hive or mound. So it's if a queen dies, it's not necessarily the end of a particular mound. A new one will take over, and then they'll continue growing and basically expanding their mounds and just carrying on with life. I mean, they are remarkable creatures. Fantastic. Right, just plug myself in before we go. And termites are all part of one bigger picture out here. Well, everywhere really. They're all part of the ecosystem, obviously. So if a tree is pushed over by an elephant, so the elephant's going to be feeding on the roots or the leaves or even on the fruits. If it pushes it over, and the tree starts to die, or it doesn't necessarily have to die, but it's also creating a habitat and an environment for many other species, and giving opportunities for lots of other things to have a chance. Well, as you can see with these termite mounds here, we're just driving past them, these ones may well be satellite mounds or satellite colonies from the one that we passed, or the other ones, or the one that we passed might be a satellite from this colony. So they're all interconnected to some degree. A lot of termite mounds here. Some very large examples as well. definitely feel the temperature dropping slightly. The wind is picking up a little bit. So fingers crossed that we don't have any precipitation in the next couple of hours. And Matthew, if you're still watching, with regards to that Vergasa level 1 question, I'm quite interested to know where you're actually going to be studying. Right, okay, just bear with me. Don't worry, I'm not lost, I'm just finding the scenic route. Just had a comment from Jackie's class, which, if I remember correctly, is in Illinois. They're actually working on a termite project at the moment, so it's quite fortuitous that I stopped and pointed out these termite mounds. It's nice to hear that we, that we are doing relevant things to what people are interested out there. Okay, and Jackie's class have actually just asked a very tricky question. How many termites could possibly be in a mound such as that? Potentially millions, Jackie. I wouldn't like to put an exact figure on them. It's an infinitesimal amount. Right. Somebody who wouldn't move out of the way. Sorry, Mr. Pigeon, Mr. Turtle Dove. It's going to be a very high number, in the millions, I'd imagine. Quite interested to know how the termite project is going with you guys, what you're actually doing for it, and just get an idea of what you hope to achieve with this project. Are you going to stay there like a good bird? Stay. Right, actually hopping around. It's make Jason's life a little bit difficult. Let's see if we can get a shot. Great work, Jason. Oh, shame. He's just moved into this tree, so if I roll forward a little bit. Can you stay still for us? I think he's been a little camera shy. Got a crested barbet for you there. Absolutely exquisite bird. Really is. You do get a few other different barbets which are in the family. This one is pretty special. It's called a crested barbet because he's got that long, well, not too long, but he's got that shaggy crest on top of his head. Just hiding a little bit. I wonder if I can get a better angle for roll forward a little bit. Has he gone now? He's watching the screen, so I couldn't see where he jumped to. He's gone. Okay. We'll move on. In this area, you do get the obviously you get the crested barbet. You also get the black-collared barbet as well, which has a similar shape to the crested. Obviously, it doesn't have the same feathery crest on top of his head. And the black-collared barbet has predominantly a red face and then a black collar. That's just below his throat. It's the name, black-collared barbet. You do occasionally, which is very rare, get a yellow morph of the black-collared barbet. So rather than a red face, you'll have a yellow face. This is the area that we left the lions last night. So I'm just going to have a quick look at my map. Go down a road I've not been down before. Sorry, excuse me. I'm not sure if that's leaves. That's something. Bush plays tricks on you. For a second I saw some leaves, which some brown, you've got yellowy tan shaped leaves, which looked very similar out of the corner of my eye to a cat. I don't think anybody's been down this road for a while. probably for good reason, because it doesn't go anywhere. Whoops, sorry guys. Always worth checking though. Always worth checking. Recognize this place now. Okay. Sorry guys, this is the first time I've actually been here. This looks like it's the hyena den. Doesn't look as though there's anybody home at the moment. It doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't. Just going to stop and just have a quick look through my binoculars. Well, I mean, there are some impala which are just perched to our left. I'm just going to have a quick scan. Well, Jason will keep you entertained with a foam nest frog nest. Nothing really exciting here at the moment, but these foam nest frogs, what they'll do is they'll find a body of water, and the male and females will come together. They'll mate, and as they're mating, the female will rub her legs together and create this foamy mass, into which she'll deposit the fertilized eggs. And generally, as a rule, what they'll do is they'll create these foam nests over a body of water. Doesn't look like there's much water there at the moment, unfortunately, for them. There might be a slight puddle, but hopefully for the young developing tadpoles in there, there will be some water available for when they do start to hatch, and then they'll be able to drop through this foam, which acts as a bit of a protective casing for them, stops them from dehydrating in the sun, in the hot sun, and eventually they'll come through the foam, drop into the water, and start to develop from there. But it's not much here at the moment, so we'll move on. Quite interesting, actually. Just thinking back retrospectively to last night. This is kind of roughly around the area where we left the lions last night. and they're quite close to that hyena den. So I wonder if the hyena were around last night, if they were kind of moved on, or a little bit, seeing as the lions were in such a close proximity. Just bear with me. Sorry, Vim, could you repeat that? I had the Game Drive channel in my ear as well. Just had a question from Shelley on Twitter, asking how long the hyena young will stay with their mother before they kind of go out on their own or get ousted from the clan. Depends on a few factors, Shelley. Depends on the sex of the hyena. If it's a female hyena, she'll probably stay within the clan for quite a while. They're there from last night. She'll probably stay with the clan for quite a while, and she might eventually move off and start a clan of her own. There's no real definitive time scale for that. Now, with regards to the males, again, it depends on the size of the clan. It depends on his pecking order. He may eventually venture off and try to become part of another clan. But I don't think there's any particular timescale where they will have a certain time where they think, right, okay, we're going to go off, we're going to start on our own, or we're going to join another clan. I think it's just dependent on the situation. Quite an interesting question, that. Thank you. There's quite a lot of variables in that to actually think about. Thank you. Pretty quiet even on quarantine at the moment. You usually get quite a lot of planes game frolicking around. It is quite open, so it's a good place for them to relax a little. It seems fairly quiet here at the moment, but then again, could come around the corner and bump into something. very cold. Starting to spit with a little bit of rain, so kind of keeping my fingers crossed, or we're keeping our fingers crossed that it doesn't decide to turn into anything a bit more vigorous. Termite mound look a bit like a nyala for a second. an interesting question from Matthew on Twitter, asking how you can tell the difference between a leopard track and a lion track, besides size. Sorry, tracks. There's a few alley tracks here, moving in a general direction. Besides size, there's a slightly different shape. I'll stop here and explain. Unfortunately, I don't have a useful tool that I can use to show you right now. I'll dig through my my books back at camp, and I'll make sure I'm prepared for next time. Besides size, the toes on the pads, they're slightly different shaped as well, and the actual back pad has a slight variation as to the top structure. One's slightly more rounded in compared to like a triangular shape, even though it's still a triangular shape, but it just has a bit more of a rounded look to it as well. Just the pad or the track of a leopard, it's a lot more of a uniform shape to it. So the toes and a lot more proportion to the size of the back pad as well, and it forms more of a circular shape to it. Whereas a lion is kind of more sort of a bit more of a rectangular, elongated shape to it, whereas I suppose more squarey. Whereas the leopard has a much more uniform circular shape to it. It's hard to describe without actually showing something to you. But yeah, I'll try and dig out a couple of books tonight, and if you're watching next time I'm on, fire that question through, and I'll give you a more definitive comparison that I can actually point things out to you. Okay, but we're just going to sit here for a minute, and I'm just going to have a quick look, and then just to make a quick determination as whether to go left or right. Just bear with me. Okay, there's a few comments coming through about bit of rain. About coming through about there's some confusion with regards to the cheetah track compared to the leopard track. Obviously there are a few differences there between those tracks as well. The cheetah track is a lot more of a narrow track, and it's also at the top of where the toes are. You'll see claw marks, because the cheetah doesn't have fully retractable claws. Its claws are permanently extended. Now these claws are permanently extended, so the cheetah has a better grip when it's running, because it's moving at such high speeds. It's also got to count it uses its claws to be able to turn sharply, get a bit more traction as it's tearing up the turf. It also uses its tail as a bit of a counterbalance. That also helps propel the cheetah. But another difference between the leopard, the lion and the cheetah track is, besides size and slight variation in shape, is the actual claw marks as well, which protrude just in front of the toes. So that's another way you can check if a track belongs to a cheetah, a leopard, or a lion. It's just look for those claw marks just below, just in front of the toes. But it's a nice comparison. If I do bring my tracking book with me, which gives some nice examples of all the pictures, if we do see some tracks, I'll be sure to remember to give you a little bit more of a definition and point out the various things that you can actually use to spot the differences between the cats. And I think from here we're going to take a left for luck, as some of my friends back home say. Just had an interesting question from Larry on Twitter, asking if Nyala and Kudu are related. because of the stripe markings that they have on their sides and on their back. They are related, yes, but it's not just because of those stripes. They're all part of the Troglophini tribe, which basically is a type of antelope which has spiraled horns. And they've got a spiraled horn construction to them. They're all part of the ungulate family as well, which basically means that they're walking, or they're hooved, and they're kind of walking on their tiptoes. And the way it's have developed over time is their structure. So let's do a bit of a visual demonstration. The way an ungulate foot works, it's rather than being let's find a good place, use this arm instead, rather being like that, which is kind of plantigrade, which is our foot. Then you've got digigrade, which is kind of like that, so it's not quite fully flat. It's kind of on almost on sort of the balls of the feet. That's sort of where your cats and your dogs, that's where they sort of have their foot structure. But ungulates, they will kind of walk on their tiptoes like this. Now, it's come to sort of, well, it's a bit more straight, but my wrist won't bend that much. Maybe if I stand up a bit. Yeah, ungulates kind of walk like that, so they're on the tiptoes, and that's another way to tell that they're all related. Now the foot structure is gone to such it's evolved to such a degree that the ankle bones and everything like that is kind of extended, so it kind of looks as though it's part of the actual leg. Still walking on their tiptoes. That's another way that you can tell that Nyala and Kudu are related. So they're all part of the Troglophini tribe, which is part of the greater kind of antelope family. But quite an interesting question, that, and really well done for noticing that they have fairly similar markings. But those markings are pretty much used for camouflage purposes. So as they move through the thick bushes and the thick trees, those stripes help to break up the silhouette of the animal, which does help when they've got things stalking them. It just kind of helps break up the outline of the animal. Interesting question, that. Thank you. It does seem to have been a bit of elephant activity here. It's in the branches that are off. Area, guys, so we'll put so we can area, guys, so we'll put so we can get some better signal for you without rocking the cameraman off the vehicle, of course. Whenever I come to like a triangular junction such as this, if I'm wanting to go to the right, I'll always just take a quick peek onto the opposite direction, just to have a quick look and just see if there is anything that I might be missing if I decide to go the other way. So it's not really being indecisive, but it's just checking to see if there's anything else that could be around the corner. still, stay still, stay still, stay still. Okay, everybody just hold your breath while Jason pans. Let's run. Shame. We had a grey diker stood posing for us for a second. He's just kind of scooted behind those shrubs. Might be able to give you a quick round. Might be a bit of a tricky one, but might just get the angle just in between these trees. And if we all keep quiet, hold our breaths, he might stay still for us and pose. He's actually not being too camera shy. Nice little grey diker there. Nice male grey diker. Usually these guys are quite timid, and if they see you coming, they'll often dive through the bush. Diker is loosely translated from Afrikaans as diver. Oh, and there's something else just in the background. Just bear with me. Stumposaurus. But yeah, diker loosely translated from Afrikaans means diver. These guys like to dive through the bush to escape their predators. We'll move on. So I think if we try to get a little bit closer, he'll make a bolt for it. Interesting question from Steve from Boston asking about the see, whenever I start a question I see tracks. Just bear with me. Okay. Asking about the controlled burnings that go on properties and reserves. Determined by a number of factors, Steve. The vegetation, the time of year. I mean, right now it would be pretty pointless doing a controlled burn because everything is so wet. You just literally couldn't get a fire started. The best times when burns usually take place is just before the rainy season. So it's coming towards the end of the winter season, the end of the dry season, when everything is still. They may well have just started to have a few rains. What they'll do is they'll kind of have a plan mapped out And it's not only just selecting an area that they're going to burn, they need to compensate for various things such as wind direction, temperature, and also humidity. So I keep seeing things out of the corner of my eye, but it's proven to be nothing. And what they'll do is they'll burn these areas and have they'll use roads as fire breaks, such as cut lines and also other tracks. They'll use those to control the sections of the burn. But as for how they choose it, one after the other, I think it's more determined on the way and direction that the wind is blowing. But how it affects the animals is an interesting side to things. Unfortunately, there will be casualties. So some animals will perish in the blazes. A lot more of like kind of your rodents or insects. They'll be the ones that probably more that suffer greatly. I suppose your reptiles as well. They'll be the ones that suffer more in comparison to your birds and your larger mammals, which will have the capacity to outrun the fire and will kind of get more to a safe distance. But these controlled burns that do kill all the, well, not all, but they'll kill insects, reptiles, and some rodents. These will then be fed upon by scavengers. The birds will come back after a controlled burn, and they'll be able to kind of pick and choose which insects and potentially rodents and lizards, depending on the size of the birds, to actually come back and feed on. So it's also aiding the feeding of other animals as well. If you go to an area after it's been burnt, you'll often see birds foraging through the burnt grass and the burnt undergrowth, actually picking the dead insects and the dead rodents and dead lizards up and eating them. So it's a bit, for lack of a better term, it's a bit of a buffet barbecue for some of the species. It's an interesting question, thank you. Some good questions coming through today, guys, thank you. Get my old grey matter working. got it? Cool. Can't really use that one without kind of endorsement sort of thing. Definitely getting a bit chilly. Although to be fair, I'm sure a lot of you, if you're in North America or Europe and you are watching, I'm sure it's going to be a lot colder than it is here. Just that BM thing, I didn't warn him about the mosquitoes in final control. Turn the air conditioning on, mate. They don't seem to like that. Okay. I think we'll go left. In fact, I'm just going to hop out, check for tracks. doesn't seem to be a huge amount going on here at the moment. Let's continue down this left track. We'll stroke the quill and see what we can find. This is pretty dry at the moment, but give it a bit longer and this will be quite a fast flowing little tributary. Okay, interesting. This looks fresh. It smells pretty fresh too. Try not to run over it. Going to see where this road to our left takes us. Potentially take it. When the light starts to deteriorate like this, again, your mind's eye starts playing a couple of little tricks on you. But it's always worth stopping just to make sure that what you thought you saw wasn't there or not. close to a boundary here-ish, so I'm just making sure I don't take the wrong road and get us into trouble. That's fresh. I'm not sure if you'll be able to get that, Jason. Put the light on it, you might be able to see it. Actually, I'll pull forward. Just there. That light will be too strong. And those are hippo tracks. Looking pretty fresh. So this is probably one of the hippo's trail that they'll use. You know, they'll spend the day in the water, trying to keep out of the heat of the sunshine, and then on night times, or on an evening, they'll come out of the water. They'll follow certain paths that they'll use, such as this, and they'll forage. Well, they'll go and eat grass and other lower-lying plant matter, predominantly grass. But they'll follow paths like these, and they actually use them for, well, the males actually use them for territorial kind of markings as well. They'll follow these paths, and hippos will wander for up to between 8 and 10 kilometers per night, searching for food. And if you do kind of approach these paths, you need to be very, very cautious. You don't really want to get in between a hippo and water. It's not a good combination. But there is some other interesting tracks here as well. So let's see what's headed towards the dam. If anything. You can tell it was a hippo track. Probably not from that angle too well. But again, I'll remind myself next time I'm on drive to bring a book with some examples of the tracks, of animal tracks. And you could tell it was a hippo because it had a big kind of bulbous back kind of area with 4 big toes protruding from the front, and that's how you can tell it's a hippo. Just had an interesting question from Kelsey on from Savannah, asking if the seasons help determine the predator activity. Yes, they do. Obviously, during seasons such as this, where it's just the beginning of summer. Let's get it which road to go up. Let's go up this one. In seasons such as this, it's just the beginning of summer, just after some of the rainfall, there's going to be an abundance of newborns, such as the impala, the nyala, all being born roughly around the same time. So these predators will take advantage of this. They'll hunt more actively. Ooh, now this could be nice. These guys look like they might come out of the water. We'll give them a bit of a distance. We'll just turn around. We'll just keep our distance a little bit and just find a nice little spot that we can sit in, and hopefully we might get some hippo action, which is always quite interesting to see when they come out of the water. But getting back to your question, Kelsey, yeah, the level of activity is influenced by the seasons to a certain degree. Obviously with the more abundance of food. Okay, I'm just going to give these guys a bit more space, and hopefully Jason can still get a shot. Just don't want to make them feel threatened at all. I'm going to be able to have them to relax and do as they would do naturally if we weren't here. Okay, but as I was saying, sorry, I keep getting distracted. I've got the Game Drive channel in my ear. As I was saying, Kelsey, sorry. Obviously, with more abundance of food available to the predators, they will be more active and they'll be more opportunistic. In the winter, in the drier seasons, they will have to work a lot harder for their meals. They'll probably have to travel further, but they'll also kind of know where to concentrate their efforts as well. So if water is in a short supply, they'll know to kind of hang around the kind of the dam areas or the pan areas such as this, which obviously won't be as full as it is now. But a lot of the animals will, or the water-dependent animals, will actually come down to waterholes on a frequent basis to kind of drink, and that'll be kind of quite hazardous to the prey animals, but they will come down and the predators will take advantage of the fact that these animals will need water. But during the wetter months, when there's more water available and more food available for the predators, as well as the prey animals such as the impala and nyala, the tactics will kind of change slightly. So the behaviour is, or the hunting behaviour and the hunting that takes place is influenced greatly by the season. But a very good question, thank you for that, Kelsey. Now, I'm going to have to lower my voice a little bit. I mean, hippos do have very, very good hearing because they can hear a lot of sounds underwater. But these guys are kind of just contemplating coming out of the water now. They're just making sure that it's okay to come out of the water and start feeding. Hopefully, I'm not in a position that's going to be able to kind of inhibit this natural behaviour. It will be quite nice if we can get these guys to come out of the water. Oof. That was quite impressive. That's just a small young one. Now let's see if they come out. Now there are some on the far side which I'm also keeping an eye on. Hopefully some of these guys will come out. Now this will be quite nice if some of these guys come out. There is a portion of the pod which is just kind of tucked away. So what I'm actually thinking of doing is I might move onto the dam wall if I can, which might give these guys a bit more space to actually come out. So if you just bear with me, I'm just going to pull out, because hopefully it'll give these guys a bit more reassurance and a bit more of a temptation to actually come out of the water, and we might get a better view of them actually coming out of the water. But it does look as though they are getting ready to come out and do some feeding, because these guys they are nocturnal feeders. I mean, they will feed during the day as well, but not so much when the weather's hot and sunny. They've got very, very sensitive skin. So if we position ourselves just on this dam wall, without skewering ourselves on this buffalo thorn, we might get some hippo action as they come out of the water. It does look like they are starting to make a move. Maybe it's just a bit uneasy about our presence here, which would be a shame if I changed their habits. good mixture of size differences in here. Some large bulls, a few cows, and a couple of smaller ones as well. I don't think there's any babies in here per se, but there's a few smaller ones. Some of them were venturing quite close to the edge, so I think they are definitely getting ready to leave. Start their night foraging sessions. I think a lot of these hippos, there's a kind of a gentle drainage line which runs just underneath one of the large trees, just on the right hand side of this dam. It looks as though that's probably one of the main routes that these guys use to come in and out of this pan. It's quite well worn. Given their size, hippos are quite shy creatures. Feel safe, much safer in the water than they do on land. I don't want to shine the light too directly on them, because they are probably got fairly sensitive eyes, so I'm just going to try and use the edge of the torch light to kind of illuminate them but slightly for you. I had a question from Kathy in Florida asking if we ever see any owls. We do see a few owls whilst we're on drive. More often than not on the evenings when we're travelling back from control to our base camp. Just the other night we saw it's a juvenile eagle owl, I believe it was. Yeah, it's a juvenile eagle owl sitting on the road, which was quite nice. Sat there and, as we pulled up, he kind of gave a flap of his wings and took off. So we do see some. I think Scott and Mark and a couple of others have seen something called a Scops owl, which is a very small owl. But the only one I've seen so far since I've been here is the eagle owl. That was only a juvenile one, but it was still a fantastic sighting. There's a few more hippo to the far side of this dam, which I'm just keeping an eye on through my binoculars because they're getting quite active as well. I'm trying not to shine this too much in their eyes. Now, if the far side, just by there's a fallen tree, looks like one hippo is looking like he's tempted to come out. Just had a question from Dora on email. Hi Dora, hope you're enjoying the drive. Thank you for your question. Just asking if hippos and crocodiles can coexist in bodies of water such as this. They can indeed, and more often than not they do. I mean, it might be the case that there are crocodiles in here, but they'll be quite small ones. But yes, they do coexist. The hippos are basically tolerate the crocodiles more than anything, and more than the other way around. The crocodiles don't really tend to pose much of a threat when it comes to hippos, unless it's like a very, very young hippo. But yeah, usually the crocodiles and hippos do tolerate each other quite well. Now, I'm just going to pan across in front of us. We've got a good sized hippo just leaving the water there. I'm just going to put the light on him slightly. It looks like a mother and calf. And this is fantastic. Just venturing out from the water to start their nighttime foragings. Going to give them quite a bit of distance because they do feel very, very vulnerable when they're out of the water. It's mother and cow just leaving the safety of the water there. That's superb, that's brilliant. That's such a lovely sight. Okay, they're just going to amble off into the bush and start munching on grass. Now, one of the signs that you can tell that if a hippo has been feeding in an area, the grass is cropped very, very low to the ground. It almost looks as though it's been a lawnmower's been at it. Well, that was fantastic. We've got about 1 minute to go, guys. So I'm just going to say thank you. Thank you for joining us. Hope you have enjoyed the drive. It wasn't quite as exciting and adrenaline rushed as last night's drive, but we have seen a few nice things. Got some good sightings of jackals, ellie, a few antelopes and impala, and got some nice hippo action. So it's pleasant just to see them coming out of the water rather than just lazing around. So it's good to see that they do other things besides just bounce around at the bottom of a pan. So on that note, I'm just going to leave you with a nice shot of the pan as we start to close out, and say goodnight from myself and Jason and VM in control, and we hope to see you tomorrow morning for another Safari Live.